Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, The Spencer Home. So today we just wanted to touch maybe like a quick 10 minutes about our finances and kind of like a little structure on kind of what we do. I know a lot of people are saying like, they're newly married or even single and they're saying, okay, how do you budget? How do you live life, in these times and save and pay your bills and all that stuff? And so one of the first things that a lot of people come into, especially being married, is that they don't have like structure or whatever. And so I hope this video kind of encourages you, whether even like I was saying, whether you're married or single or not, or just trying to get your footing. I think some of the things that we are going to talk about briefly, maybe we'll do another extensive video on certain topics, but I think we're just going to hit like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 quick little bullets on what like helps us. And so yeah, so the first one that we're going to talk about first and foremost is budgeting. And I think that's like so important that you literally, I think what helped me when we were dating is that Thomas is really great with numbers. And so it's not like I wasn't great with numbers, but I think he's a little bit more practical, and so in his head, so I'm more practical with paper. Like I need to see the numbers on paper, let it add up, calculate, and then, get the result and go from there. And so one of the things that we started doing was budgeting. And so one of the things that first what we did is we wrote out all of our expenses. So whether that's your insurance, your rent, your mortgage, your car insurance, your water, electricity, you write all those things down. And then after that, then you do groceries and whatnot. And so whatever is usually left over, we either put into our savings account, or we say, okay, hey, we have a birthday party or we have a gift that we have to give. So we leave that into our main checking, and where that's drawn out, every single week after our tithe and all of that. And then we would say, okay, say for instance, if it's an extra $250, then we put it into our savings. And then we leave a little lump sum. I guess it just keeps us accountable and more of a control. It's better to have it in our savings, at least just for us, to let us know, okay, we don't have that extra $250 in our checking that we can easily just go on, Amazon, which I love, doing things online. And so I think when even in general, when everything started going more online friendly and things can get shipped to your house in 2 days, I think that is where it's difficult a little bit, to have extra money into your checking account.
That's
so I
true.
think that helps us. Yeah, I think that helps us, after our expenses and then after our groceries or our gas or whatever, we just leave a little lump sum in our checking, and then we remove the rest and we put it into our savings account. So that way we know, okay, this is our budget for the remainder of the week. And so that way we're not spending way above our means just because the money is there. And so,
And I think too, holding each other accountable is key, guys, because if you have money, I mean, anybody can have money, and we should spend. I love sneakers. Ron K always catches me looking at sneakers.
The latest deals.
Yeah, deals. I'm a deal guy. I don't need to buy it at the highest price. But the thing is, even though it's a deal, do I really need it? And we do that everywhere we go. We do it for groceries. Maybe we see a good deal, but if we already have 100 packages of it, do we really need 101? You know what I mean? Just example. But she holds me accountable. Same with her. We're in Marshalls or TJ Maxx.
Yeah,
one of those
I
stores.
love Marshalls and TJ Maxx, and that's one place that I think when it comes to our finances and stuff is your weakness. Okay, so the type of stores that you don't need to be going in, or I just came in to check for something, because you're gonna leave with something that you probably didn't go in with the intention of getting, and that always happens, especially with me with TJ Maxx or DSW, or I go into Zara or something and I see a sweater that was originally $49 and it's $19.99. But when I think about it, when I go and do laundry, when I do an inventory of what I'm folding, I'm like, okay, Ron K, you have 24 sweaters. How many more sweaters do you need? And you have to be practical with yourself. You know what I mean? You have to say, okay, do you really need another pair of sandals? Do you really need another jacket? And I think in the end, you have to have your balance, okay? And so if you're saving and you're saying, okay, I want to save up for an extra $10 a week, keep it in my checking, and I'm gonna go and buy a winter jacket, just make sure that you're also decluttering your house, because I think what happens is when you have so much things, you don't even realize like how much you really truly have, and you don't see the value in having 2 or 3 jackets, but when you have 15, we're working on it, okay? But when you have 15 jackets, you're like, oh heck, what's another, another jacket at, and you just begin to depreciate the value of your jackets. And so I think we've kind of taken on more so the last couple of years, like the minimalist approach, not in every single aspect, but in different things. And I think that's helped us a lot. So when we're at the store and we say, oh, like, look at this nice sweater, or look at these nice pair of shoes, I can say, okay, Ronke, like, be practical with yourself. Like, in the end, clothing is just to clothe you, and in the end, it's like, okay, yes, it's nice, but truly, do you need it, and I think that's what's helped me a lot, so if I'm going to see, like, a great deal on, like, these awesome boots, and I can say, okay, Ronke, like, you have 4 boots at home. Do you truly need this other pair of boots? And I think that we do that more minimal approach. It's allowed us to stay within our budgeting every month, and we're seeing more and more of our checking, input every month being added onto our savings, which is growing, which is really, really awesome.
That's good. I think too, guys, just because you are decluttering doesn't mean it gives you a right to buy more.
Yeah.
The whole reason why you're decluttering is because you have a whole bunch of stuff you don't wear, but that doesn't mean you need to spend more money on stuff.
Right.
Just because you have the room now. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Ronke just got me a shoe rack. I filled the shoe rack, so I technically don't need any more shoes.
Right.
But am I gonna look? Yes. But in my head, I'm a window shopper. And then that's it.
Yeah.
I look.
So
I'm
you
like,
get that kind of like fever, that shopping fever out of you.
But the rack proves to me that I really don't need to buy another pair of shoes. And just be practical with yourself and be honest with yourself. Like, if you have 4 black hoodies, doesn't mean you need a 5th black hoodie. Doesn't even maybe you need to downgrade to maybe even 2 black hoodies. You know what I mean? So you just think of what you really need on a day-to-day basis, and that will keep yourself accountable, but also if you have a spouse, keep your spouse accountable too, and you can keep each other accountable. And it's a good way just to build your relationship up more than before, because it's like you guys are on the same page, right? You're trying to get your finances right for the future, and you'll save a lot more money that way.
It's so true.
And more stuff doesn't mean more happiness.
Right, it's so true.
Value the things you do have, love what you do have, and enjoy it. If you always want the next thing, you'll never enjoy the thing you just got.
It's like a revolving door, it's like the latest iPhone, the XR comes out, then before you know it, 6 months later, the next 10 or the 11 or the 12 or the next, there's always the next best thing. And so even if you're not married or in a relationship, even this applies to you, even if you are single, getting those those basic saving and spending habits like in line early, it's going to save you down the road, so that's another benefit in your singleness. If you're saying, okay, like I'm that you're a spender, this can be a good video to encourage you and say, okay, am I living above my means? Am I living truly because what I'm wearing or what I'm driving or the house that I have, what is it reflecting? Is it really reflecting you, or is it reflecting on what you want approval from other people? Because I think comparison, what's that quote says, like, comparison is like the greatest, thief of your joy, or the stealer of your joy. And it's like, man, okay, like once you've like realized, okay, like I'm living not to impress others. And I think, we all go through that season, of our lives, whether it's in high school or just getting out of college or just finding your footing in like the real world. You just try and find your footing and find your approval in things or something, that's something that we always long for, is approval of something, of people, and, affirmation. And so I think that's one of the things that really helped us with our finances. Like once we are able to get that solid foundation, okay, like what do we really need on a day-to-day, and you move from there. And I think that minimalist approach really, really helped us when it comes to saving and our spending.
And I think another thing too is going out to eat. I remember when we that's a big one. First started to date, and then like dating into marriage, spending moments were Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
But one of the reasons why we did date a lot is because, you know, when you're dating, you always want to be like in group settings, or you want to be in situations where you're not really left alone often, because like, let's be real, like if you're attracted to one another, it makes it more difficult, you know, for the temptation, you know what I'm saying? And so so even if it's like, okay, during the week you budget and you meal prep and you write down a list when you're going grocery shopping, so that when you're in, you know, Trader Joe's or, you know, Whole Foods, you're not just like buying everything because you're hungry, but you have an account of what's in your cupboard, and then you're getting just what you need, you know. So for instance, I just went grocery shopping today, and lo and behold, I forgot my list at home. And what did I do? I ended up spending $40 more because I saw things on sale that I thought I needed, you know? And it's like, okay, like in the end, I ended up spending $40, but I didn't get bread, and I forgot, you know, butter, you know, bread and butter, you know? There's a storm coming, you know, you always need your bread, milk, and butter, you know? That's what they always say. But again, too, like you get that pressure of like, I need to consume. And I think once you have a solid foundation of that, I think truly, like you can begin to be, you know, financially stable. And a lot of things too is what really helped us is that we understood like the real principle of tithing and giving Jesus our tenth, you know, because God has blessed us with even giving us, like God gave us the 100%, or God gave us the job that provides us with our finances. And good thing it's not the other way around, where God says, okay, you keep 10 and give me the 90. Can you imagine? But it's like, okay, God wants to say, okay, how much do you trust me enough to make a reminder of a check in your heart that that money isn't the ruler of you. And it's like, saying money isn't the control or the God, you know, because, you know, so yeah, and
it is a hard check, because God doesn't need your money. Think about how God can do whatever He wants, but He's checking your heart. What is in here? What are you saying about money? Is money higher than me, or am I higher than money? So it's really a hard check, guys. I think once you get that down, and once you can budget around that, first you get your check, your 10th goes to God, and then budget the rest. Budget. And like I said, you can go out on the weekends, but don't overspend. Don't say, okay, I'm gonna go out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe go out for 1 or 2 meals during the weekend, and that's it. Budget it. Make it a priority. Write everything down.
It's good.
And then, so you know your debt to income ratio.
It's so good.
You know your free cash flow. You know what I mean? And then you can end up saying, I can save this much. I have leisure spend on this month, and you set caps for yourself. So at the end of the month, you don't have all this stuff at your house, but you have a negative balance, and you owe a fee to the bank.
It's so true. Or even another thing, now that you mentioned that, is like credit cards. That's one of the most terrible things. Don't do it. If you have a credit card, one of my friends, what she did is to break the habit of spending. She put all of her credit cards in a Dixie cup with water, and she froze it. And then so I was able to say, okay, like it's gonna take her time to thaw this out and swipe it online, or swipe it, you know, at the mall or whatever. So it broke that habit of her spending money that she didn't have. And so I think that's another one that you can do, whether it's like you have to pay off, you know, because now interest on the average credit card is at least 23%, you know, 24%. So it's like, okay, are you really paying off the credit card, or are you still living so much above your means that you're just making the minimum payment? Because that's how these banks really, in the end, are gaining their money, and then you are staying in debt. It's because you're still living way above your means, right? Okay, so we are back, and so I think what I was talking about was about keeping up with the Joneses and living like above your means, and having way too much credit card spending and not being able to pay it off at the end of the month. Like, so for instance, for us, our plan is just to have one credit card, whether it's like the Amazon one, where we just put our groceries and our gas and all that, just little spending, and so that we were able to pay it off in full at the end of every month and still gain extra points and extra benefits. Some people do, you know, airlines if you're flying, and whatnot. And so that's kind of what we do. And so the last one that we want to talk about is the emergency fund.
Yeah, I mean, you want to have emergency fund like maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500 set aside.
1,000 to 1,500.
Just in case something happens, like you blow a tire or your furnace breaks or a pipe leaks. You want to make sure you have that so you're not putting it onto a credit card and then never paying it off or paying it off in one time. Because like Ronke was saying, it's senseless to put a ton of things on a credit card if you don't have the means to pay it off at the end of the month. So make sure you set aside some cash. 1,500, I would say.
Yeah, maybe even 2,000, like it happens with your car, you need a muffler or something, everything is so unpredictable, or you need to pay a medical bill. At least you have some form of money where you're not drawing, like he was saying, like paying off with a credit card, but you're having money that's set aside in case those things happen, because you don't want unnecessary stress. So it's good that you put in place structure, so that way you relieve that. So it's whether you're single or you're married, it's just one less stressor that you don't have to put on yourself. And so again, for us, I think it's about 2,500, because we have ourselves and then we have the son. So God forbid anything happen, we have that extra just money put aside additional in our other savings account, where we can say, okay, this is the money that we have in case XYZ happens. And so
that's good. Yeah, and hey, we know you have to start from somewhere. Don't feel like there's pressure to do it all at once. But take practical steps, because you want to become financially free. It doesn't happen overnight.
It's a process.
If you take the steps, you'll see more fruit to your labor. You'll see more in your account than you have ever seen before. And you'll have more peace of mind. Let's take the right steps, the practical steps to move forwards with becoming financially free. That's good.
All right, and so I hope you like this video. Put a thumbs up if you like this video, so that way you can able to put more content, whether you're single or you're married or you're dating. I believe in all seasons of life, these videos, we want them to be able to be practical and relatable to you. And so I hope you like this video. Comment any questions or whatever that you have down below. And until next time, see ya.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
I'll do the intro this time.
Go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Spencer home. Okay, you go. I can't. Nah. Don't put that in there. This is Tom and Ronke with the Spencer home.
You don't have to say our names.
Welcome back to the Spencer home.
You don't have to use your hands to you're like, walk over.
We could do one about...
What?
We could...
What?
Season. Yeah, people need to know these
People
things.
need to know.
Because parents don't always pay. No, I say our parents, but parents
in general.
It's not like the olden days anymore. It's
not where
it's
different. Budget, step up and budget
right now. If you're 12 years old, start budgeting.
See ya.